Last month, I've made $81,500 using our own AI-powered sales funnel. Our clients making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month using the same exact sales agents. In this video, I will show you what they are, what is the actual funnel, the old and the new way of running the business with AI-powered tools. I'll illustrate my own funnel, how the prospects go through each and every stage, and where AI comes in, trying to book an appointment and engage with each and every prospect. And of course, we'll go over the technical side of things. I'll show what tools, software we use, as well as how everything is structured on the backend. So let's start. When we are thinking about integrating AI solutions into any business, we can either help them to save more time and be more productive, or make them more money. Now, of course, saving time is great, but the actual value comes into the AI, technology that can help the business to drive more business to the doors. And driving business is all about marketing or sales. So marketing is, getting the eyeballs, generating the traffic, and the sales converting this traffic into the paid clients. And of course, it doesn't really matter what company is using for the marketing. This could be organic, this could be paid, this could be the referrals or the partnership network. Very important thing to note is that this is one of the best pieces of information that you'll find, because we are building the most human AI sales reps in the world right now. We are selling these sales reps to other businesses, right? But also we are using it for our own business to engage with prospects and close more leads. So it's basically AI agents sell other agents to other businesses. And this is what I'm gonna show you later in the video. We're gonna go step by step into my specific funnel, and you will see the actual results. Now, AI marketing is a gimmick. Now, of course, there are so many different things where AI can be applied within the marketing, from the creatives to data reporting. But this is not where we are talking about. AI marketing is for marketing agencies, so it's not AI agencies doing marketing, it's marketing agencies using AI to actually drive more revenue. For the specific AI tools we're talking right now, we are focusing on the sales pipeline. And of course, the sales pipeline is different for different businesses, but we can standardize it on these 5 stages. First is the opt-in, right? This opt-in comes from any of these social media or search engines, or even the maps. It could be the Facebook lead form, this could be the website form, this could be the DM, this could be the phone call, this could be the text, that could be the WhatsApp message. So let's say this is the opt-in, right? So the prospect from the marketing through the opt-in comes to our funnel, okay? What happens after, of course, depends on the business. Sorry for multiple disclaimers, but I want you to make sure that these sales reps are very easily adapted to different pipelines. Of course, it's not one tool fix, any pipeline type of the thing. It's not magic button that you click and, you print cash. No, of course, it depends. And you need to understand your specific use case, but here's a pretty standardized stages that applies to a lot of different businesses, and to the most businesses that we work with, as well as to my own business. So opt-in is pretty understandable. The second one is the engagement. So let's say when the prospect comes in, it's either, if it's the form, like a lead form or website form, usually there's an outbound phase, right? So when we need to send the outbound message or even make the call to engage with the prospect, right? So this is the first stage, engaging. Or respond to the initial query, because if it's just the inbound DM or inbound call, we're just responding. We're not engaging proactively with someone, okay? We opted in, then we engage with the prospect, And then there's like an actual sales process. And again, you can say that this is the entire sales process, or the sales process is only this. I don't want to confuse you, just trying to simplify it as much as possible so that you have a clear picture where exactly AI drives the value. So sales process is all about, qualification, education, nurturing, customer support, follow-ups, etc. So it's basically opt-in. Let's say we're engaging. Let's say we're making the call. Human picks up the phone, so our potential, customer, the prospect picks up the phone, and then there's an actual sales process. So AI is trying to qualify them, educate them, nurture them, answer the questions if they have, and then book an appointment. So the booking, of course, is the second stage, because while this is done, so usually the same as, people, AI has a sort of guidelines, like a predefined script. It doesn't necessarily need to follow the script, and it's all about, the prompting and the way you're going to engineer the agents. I will show you how we do that. But usually we're having, the final goal, which is book an appointment, make a deposit. So make people make a deposit by sending them the link, because usually capturing the card details is not the best option. Scheduling a visit or anything related to actually the final phases of the pipeline before the closing and the fulfillment. So you're giving the goal as booking, and then you're providing the guidelines on how specifically you want to achieve the goal and who you want to take into the consideration while booking, right? So you don't want to get everyone on board unless they are qualified or properly nurtured or educated on our specific solution if we are selling something very unique. Again, pretty standardized. I think you got this. Opt-in, engagement, sales process, booking, and then, the closing and fulfillment, which is usually done by the actual business or by the human sales reps. We are not trying to focus on the closing. Of course, AI is smart enough to create almost perfect, closing process based on the data that you would gather from the business. But closing is usually very, we never focus on the closing because it's usually never a problem for the business. The problem is actually in converting the marketing, traffic, the eyeballs into the qualified prospects that are educated and almost ready to buy, and then you need to close them. So these are the 4 stages where the whole process can be handled by the AI sales reps, AI setters, or AI sales system, whatever you call it. Of course, you can see in our own marketing materials, right, that we're using kind of different positioning, and it is different based on the way we are targeting people, right? So if we're, for example, targeting business owners through the ads, and we're selling this AI sales reps to the potential businesses, we might say, hey, it's an AI sales system, because this is, more broad type of the overview of what we're doing, to not going into the specifics. When we are selling to the marketing agencies, like our license for, this sales reps, we're saying that, hey, this is the AI sales reps that you can resell to your potential clients. So we, of course, kind of use different positioning, and, AI setters, let's say we're working with the coaches or the people that actually would already have the physical appointment setters, or just using the setters. So it's the same logic, right? The same logic. It's AI powered type of the system that is helping you to, or the business, to convert more eyeballs, aka traffic, into the actual, bookings before the closing or fulfillment, because again, you don't necessarily need to have the closing if it's the local business, you just fulfill the job. So the old way of doing things is, again, pretty generalized. We have a marketing agency that handles marketing, and we have a business that is handling the sales pipeline. So let's say you're a marketing agency or a consultant, right? Let's say you help the business with this type of the problem, right? So generating traffic, getting the leads, getting the forms, etc. And then your job is done. You're saying, okay, yeah, sure. So you're charging them per lead, you're charging them monthly, whatever. And then you're saying, hey, that's pretty much it. And you will handle the sales. So you're not responsible for the business getting more sales. You're just responsible for driving the interest. And there's nothing wrong with this model, but you're not extracting the most amount of value that you can potentially get by handling everything under one roof. So again, if you're an agency, you would handle the marketing, and this is where your expertise are at, and then you would build this AI sales reps that would also handle the sales pipeline. And see, this is a new way of doing things, but not the new way of actually thinking about like the business model. Because sure, you would probably know that if you would help the business to close more deals by handling sales, you would charge them more. But the problem was always, okay, how do we do that? Do we need to hire, physical setters? And some agencies actually do. Some marketing agencies offer, the traffic generating services. They also have the appointment setters who are helping, the business to get appointments. Or even some of them have the closers. So sure, but it's not the most efficient way of doing that because you're relied on the human labor. And ideally speaking, this human would need to be trained on the information from the business, right? So you cannot scale infinitely, and the value of the services goes down because, the human agents, if they're not working, full-time or part-time for a company, they're never perfect. That is why here it is a new way of presenting your solutions and actually extracting the most possible value from each and every prospect that you're generating from the business, as well as from the business as a whole, to make money. So this can be handled by under one roof by your agency. But if you're the business, right? If you're the business, now you can make sure that your sales pipeline is great and it's either really good integrated with the marketing agencies that you are working with, or you can simply get and hire a media buyer, and now you would have, this entire cycle under one roof. So the thing is that it's not only about efficiency, right? It's not only about helping the business by automating communication with clients and engaging with each and every prospect, because this is where monetary value comes in. And this is like a screenshot from one of the video case studies that I was doing on my YouTube channel for one of our clients, and you saw it you saw another one at the very beginning of this video. So it does drive the monetary value because, of course, the speed to lead is very important, right? So the speed to lead is nothing new. As you know, there were like a lot of different studies that has been made. So every minute that you're delaying the engaging with, a potential prospect that is interested in your service, you're losing X% of X% of the chance of closing the client further. So sure. So the speed to lead is a really important, point. Thus, AI can engage with each and every prospect pretty fast, at the same minute. Of course, you would not want to do it at the same minute because we are trying to mimic 100% human behavior, and it doesn't really matter what your business is. Usually it would take 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes to engage with the prospect. So this is kind of the delay that we are operating with, and I'll show you the actual use case for my own agency a bit later. So this thing not only increasing the speed to lead, which is an important metric, one of the most important metric, but it's not new, but it's also increasing the chance of these people from here going to here. And you'll ask, okay, so how? By spending technically an infinite, or having an ability to technically spend an infinite amount of time with each and every prospect, getting the problems from them and educating them on our solution. So if you think about this, of course, it doesn't really matter like what type of the business you're doing. More kind of personalized the business is. So if you're working with moms and pops that have a lot of the referrals, if you work with the businesses that are, for example, in the health and wellness space, when the people are really concerned about something, right, like their health, or if it's, I mentioned the moms and pops because if it's the referral, they would want to have, their problems not only fixed, but also explained why it's specifically done the way it is done. So more time you spend with each and every prospect, more likely they are gonna convert into the actual sale. And if you're the business, you cannot, pay for, to your team more, or hire additional human reps who are just going to talk for 10, 20, 30 minutes with each and every customer, getting all of their problems, understanding why their roof was broken and how important it is to fix it because their kids go to school and in the school they have some problems and your husband is actually pretty busy with the work. So I think you got the idea, right? So, but once the prospect really feel that they're connected to your business and you're trying to help, you'll have much higher chances of success. And this is where our clients usually see 20 to 40% increase in the actual lead to closing process by just not even talking about the speed to lead, but just talking with each and every prospect in a personalized way, like one-to-one. Now you can say, of course, Eugene, but that's great. But no one wants to talk to, to robots, right? Everyone hates it. And especially in our current stage, and especially coming to, 2026, 2027, where more and more people will experience this, one-to-one communication with the AI agents. And this is, my friends, where the actual, one prompt sales reps comes in. Because we created a way to mimic 100% human behavior on text. I'm mentioning the text because, of course, there are different types of the communication that you're doing through this, engagement and the sales. So you can do the voice or you can do the text. Voice is a bit tricky. It does work, and I would actually show you in just 1 minute the use case from my own agency, what it's like, what voice AI sales reps are doing for me. But with the voice, it's a bit tricky because it's harder to kind of mimic human behavior. Of course, so you're prompting it to do the right language, you're using the right models, and it looks great. But so some people, especially the older generation right now, still not always getting that it's an AI, but at some point, most of us will understand if we're talking to the machine or not. But in text, this could be the text, the SMS, the iMessage, this could be the WhatsApp, the Instagram, the Messenger. We really created a way of fully replacing the human behavior. So less than 1% of people who are interacting with these agents recognize that it's an AI. Now let's talk about my own pipeline. I will show how everything is built on the technical side as well as on the business side, right? On the front end, how people experience this based on my own funnel, because it's the best illustration. And of course, I have a lot of the case studies on my YouTube channel for different businesses. And even later in the video, where we're going to talk about the technical aspects, I'm going to show you one of our, live clients, live dashboard, okay? But I think the best way of you seeing it in action is by actually going through my own funnel, so that like you're actually like seeing how people who build these things sell these things through these things. Okay, now the first step is we're running the ads. Of course, my agency is running the outreach, we're running the ads, I post the content, so we have quite a few different marketing channels that we're using. But in this specific example, let's say that I'm running the ads. This is a simple ad, like nutrition coaches. Hey, this is, the offer, a simple selfie where I'm talking about X, Y, and Z. And, to get to clients in the next 7 days with no upfront cost. Okay, so now, when they click learn more, they land into this opt-in page, right? So we have a two-step funnel. The first one is the opt-in, and the second one is the booking. So here, it's just the GIF of the video, like the preview. So this free video exposes how increase X, Y, and Z in whatever. So if you want to get this video, fill out this form. Now, of course, you guys, especially the ones that are pretty experienced with the marketing, you know that there's like hundreds of different ways of running different funnels. And we just happen to find that this thing works really good for us. The reason for that is because, again, the opt-in is made for us to get more opt-ins rather than just, sending them straight to this, booking page where there's the VSL and the booking, because the amount of bookings will be lower. So here, we're actually still capturing the entire interest. Of course, we may pay a few dollars more per booking in the finalized version, but because we have all these contacts, and because we have our AI sales reps that engage with each and every lead that fills out this form, the results are actually way, way better. Anyways, so there is an ad. People land into this opt-in form. From this opt-in form, they, fill it out. And then they just, see this VSL, headline, VSL, and then the booking. And then here are, our case studies. Pretty standard. But I believe it's 4 minutes, in 4 minutes, when they fill out the form, they are actually getting engaged by our AI sales reps. And remember, this is the engagement phase. We haven't received any DMs, we haven't received any calls. We're actually proactively engaging with, all the prospects here. And then we're managing it through the pipeline. So let me show it to you live. Of course, I'll blur some information out. So here's, for example, James, okay? So the James went through our funnel, right? So as you can see on the right, so he visited the page, then he did the opt-in. After the opt-in happened, he was watching the video. We don't know, by the way, if he was watching. We're not tracking it. We could, but we don't. So we're not aware if he was actually watching something or not. So what happened here is you can see that, of course, the contact was created, the opportunity was created within our pipeline. I'll show you the actual pipeline step by step. But here we sent the email, right? And it's not us, it's already AI trying to engage with the prospect. Okay, James, regarding AI sales reps, so you submitted the form. My name is Eugene. Okay, do you want me to show you how one of our AI agents can get you more clients? Now, as you can see, it's very, very humanized, right? So the only not humanized thing is like we're using the signature just to make sure that they understand that it's a valid thing. But yeah, then at the same minute, it's everything happening with I think like 30 seconds delay. We're sending the very similar message to the WhatsApp, okay, and to the text. So we're using three different channels to send the outbound text message to try to engage with the prospect. And here's the tricky part. We're not only doing that, we're actually making the call with an AI. In this specific case, he didn't respond to this call. And of course, most prospects won't. Like, it's just the nature of our world. Like, most of us are not picking up the phones from the random people, but it's the numbers game. And next, I have 2 more prospects to show you. We're gonna listen to the actual conversation, so you're gonna see how it works in life with their voice. But this is just the text, okay? Now we're engaging. Of course, there's nothing like AI-ish here. It's just the engagement with the static messages. So then he says, "Hi, business. Sure, we can chat." Now, that's awesome. May I ask you to give you a little bit details about the SEO services and the Coleman mentioned. So what's the best products for me? I mean, we specialize in the AI sales reps. How big is the library? Okay, not helpful, but we can recommend you something. What's the best industry for your products? Because so this is like a duplicate from here. So what are the sales reps or AI agents fit most businesses? So now this is the conversation that is done by our sales rep, AI sales rep. If this is your first time seeing that, I think you would question it, okay? I think that you would think that, like, you would not realize that it's an AI, right? And maybe you're right now can even think that I'm trying to fake it because it does look like an actual human. And the reason for that is because you can see that it sends multiple messages out, and it also processes multiple messages in, like, "Hi, business, sure, we can chat," and it groups these messages together. And this is the way humans talk. Open your phone, log into any messenger or texting app that you're using, and see how you're talking with your friends. You never, send one message in with a huge paragraph and then expect one message out. You're always chatting with them, texting with them. So we created a way of grouping and chunking these responses together in one unit and then sending it in multiple messages the same way as humans would. And not only, sending, we're also receiving multiple messages. So here, he said, can you book me a meeting? We asked for the location because, we are working with the US, Canada, UK, and Australia markets. So London, so we're getting the time zone. It's checking for the calendar. And it actually found the appointment with Eugene. And so, by the way, as you can see here, I actually see that you already have an appointment with Eugene. The reason for that, because I think for this specific client, if I'm not mistaken, we were like testing a lot of different agents and the way it talks. So, and you can actually do the same thing. You would, based on the different businesses, based on your use case, you would, change the different prompts and the way it talks and the reply rules. So either, where we want to let the business know that they're talking to the AI, or we don't. Yeah, sure. We don't want to let them know because we're mimicking human behavior. So it's kind of, I don't want you to feel like it's contradictory point. The reason why we were testing and we were saying that it's not the Eugene. So if he would ask, "Are you the AI?" it would actually respond that, "Yes, I am the digital version of the Eugene." The reason for that, because we are selling AI sales reps. So we of course want, James to know that it's an AI at least at the end of the conversation, and then say, "Hey, like, I'm not sure if you realize, but you're talking to the, our AI sales reps, and we can build you the same thing, or, you can get our license and then resell it." And very important. So here, do you confirm it? Yes. So see, like it said, like, "Give me a second." And then there's like, "My man here, wait, we'll give back to you on the personal WhatsApp." So this was the random message and he actually didn't get it. That was my own message. So what usually happens is, it's just the nature of my business, right? It's usually, we never do that when we're, deploying it for the real businesses, because the final point is the actual booking. But here, the final point is qualifying the customer, book an appointment if the appointment has not been yet booked, or confirm the appointment if it is already booked, and then say, like, "Give me a sec." When the bot sends this message, I get a notification. Okay, so I get a notification within the ClickUp. Yeah, we're using the ClickUp and not Slack, and as well as the email. So I open it up, I open the chat, And usually I call these people, and see here I said that I'm, sending the message from my personal WhatsApp, because this is the WhatsApp that is connected to, our like the CRM, and I also have the personal WhatsApp where we're managing all the clients. So I messaged him there, if I remember correctly, and then I make him a call where I told him that, hey, James, thanks for the communication, but I'm not sure if you realize, but you're talking to one of our sales reps that, we could give you to then use and resell to your own clients, because he is one of the marketing agencies. So let me give you another example. So here we have Joe, okay? If we actually, so there's was the communication between the voice, the one of the sales reps and the Joe through the, I think, through the WhatsApp, yeah, and the previous one with Crush was through the text, okay? Yeah, but here with the Joe, if we go into the opportunity details, right? So if we view the opportunity, you'll see that here we have a transcript of the conversation. Again, pay very close attention right now on what happened. Joe, through the ads, because the James was a bit of a different prospect, because he was looking to resell our license. He was in the marketing agency space. That's why we were it was from a different campaign, so we were kind of testing a different agent. But here, Joe is actually was from, I think, from this ad, from this specific ad that I was showing you, where we're nutrition coaches, so we're targeting health and wellness professionals and coaches, and he was one of these guys. And of course, he also, as you can see, received the WhatsApp as well as the SMS. He haven't received the email, probably because the email was not validated. But what's more important, he also received the call. So the James haven't answered the call, but Joe had. So here is the transcript right here. But let me actually show you the recording, okay? So we do have the recording. By the way, these are the custom fields. I'm gonna explain where they are specifically populated and how everything is done. But if we open the recording here, we are going to open it here, okay? So let's wait. Let's check the recording.
Hey, it's Catherine. Am I reaching Joe?
Yes.
Sure, so my name is Catherine. I'm calling from One Prompt. You filled out our form about the AI sales rep a few minutes ago. Do you have 2 minutes to talk?
Very important. So it said that it's Catherine. Hey, Joe. Hey, is this Joe? Yes. My name is Catherine. So I'm calling from the One Prompt, and we specifically said that because it's happening, in the 4 minutes after the Joe filled out the form. Of course, he already kind of received the WhatsApp, and he received the SMS. The email was not received because probably was not validated. And also he received the call, he picks up the phone, and this is what happens.
Yes.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, Joe, a few quick questions to confirm if our AI sales reps match your business needs. Could you briefly tell me about your business and what you sell?
I'm a nutrition coach.
Great, thanks. What exactly do you sell? Products, services, or both?
Services.
Got it. Where do most of your clients...
See, very important here. At this point, it's pretty, because I listen to, thousands of these conversations. For me, it's pretty obvious that Joe realized that it's an AI, right? Of course, it has some sort of delay, but it's pretty obvious, right? Now, we are not, so we could make it better. And within our, for example, licensing program, we give you different options of how you would customize it to make it more human or less human. But again, remember, we are selling the AI. We're not calling the guy who's interested in the in our landscaping services to try to offer it, right? Because we want Joe to know that it's an AI in case he asks. But he doesn't ask. He's probably curious to see what's going to happen. And from our side, we just need to book him on the call and get the qualification criteria down and get all the questions answered.
Come from ads, organic reach, or both?
Organic reach.
Thanks. How many inquiries or prospect messages do you typically get daily or weekly?
Two a day.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing. Who currently manages your leads and prospects? Do you handle it yourself?
Yeah, I handle it myself.
Understood. Are you using any AI or automation tools right now, besides maybe ChatGPT?
No.
Thanks, Joe.
No.
Based on what you shared, our AI sales reps could be a good fit to help you handle those inquiries and free up your time. If you want, I can give you a quick overview of how our AI setters and sales reps work, or Eugene from our team can walk you through everything in detail and show you a demo. Would you like to schedule a call with him?
Yes.
No problem. Just to confirm, you'd like to schedule a call with Eugene, right? Could you please tell me your time zone or which city you're in?
Philadelphia.
Thanks. That's Eastern time. What day works best for you?
See, because again, we're calling different prospects from different time zones. That's why we need to know that where he is from, so that we match it within our calendar. And then it's just the booking process.
For you, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday?
Tuesday.
Heck, don't worry. There are more slots if you need. Do either of these work for you?
Yeah, 1 p.m.
Thank you for your patience while I finalize your appointment booking. This should only take a moment. Great, I just booked that call for you. I also sent a confirmation email.
Yeah, so as you can see, it was pretty plain in terms of the language. And again, you can make it more emotional to try to mimic more human behavior. We're using the 11 Labs for the voice, using the retail for the actual voice, the voice agent. There's a lot of the different customizations that you can do. I will walk you through the technical setup in a few minutes, but that's pretty much it, right? So now our agent engaged with the opted in prospect, right? And then it booked the call, and here it was. Oh, okay. So we got. So yeah. So it did receive the email. It was just a bit later. So here, once he booked the call, okay, very important. Once he booked the call, there is an other agent, right? And just the specifics of my business. We are also, for example, when we're working with marketing agencies, right? Or usually this is relevant, for example, the recent example, the SEO agency. You can actually find the guy who's reading the case study on our website. I think I already published it, where they're booking the appointments, and they're it's a pretty big agency. They have 200 clients, and they're very specifically focusing in one state for one specific niche. You can read it, but they're running a lot of the ads, right? And they have a lot of the bookings. Their specifics is a bit different. They're not, having the opt-in. They have even the booking links within their account, within their as a first step for their creatives. So they receive a lot of the bookings, and it is the same thing. So instead of the message, right, or the form fill out, website form or the lead form being the opt-in, they have an opt-in as an actual booking, okay? And of course, through the booking, you can ask them pre-qualification questions, and they do that. But still, there's more qualification and nurturing that needs to be done. That is why they are using the same agent that I'm using right now, that is also engaging with the prospects after they booked the call to get more details. So same thing there. So they are also using it for themselves, and they are selling it to their clients for multiple four figures. We'll discuss it a bit later when going through the videos of the different options, how you would offer this thing to your potential prospects. Okay, so basically here, and it was basically engaging, right? So here I didn't receive the video, so it was referenced in the video. Sounds good. So it's going back and forth. There's a text. So it's the same thing. Now the last prospect that I wanted to show you is this one. So here you can see that pretty similar situation. We engaged, they didn't answer on the actual text, but the call was answered. So if we go into the opportunity, go to the voice, let's actually read it. So, hey, Catherine, sure, my name is Catherine, calling from the one prompt. Yeah, I got 2 minutes. Awesome. Well, no worries. Mainly myself, physical products. You can pause it and read it if you want. But the idea is that it's the same thing. So it's just asking the same pre-qualification questions. Then it says, okay, you're a good fit. And quick overview, our sales reps can handle inbound, and then it books an appointment, right? So after it books an appointment, it actually tries to engage with the prospect. But in this case, she did not, I think, reply to this. Yeah. Anyways, so this is an actual live overview of this system. Okay? Now, let's briefly talk about the business model that you can build on top of the sales agent. And after, we'll go into the technical setup so that you can see, the actual overview of how the things are handled. Now, again, you need to be aware of who you are. Either you're the business that is looking to implement the AI sales reps within your processes. Here, pretty straightforward. You just, get the same thing. So you either get our license or you try to build it on your own. Use it, increase your booking rates, and increase your return on ad spend or just general ROI on the investment that you're making getting the eyeballs and getting the traffic in, and you're good to go. If you are marketing agency, consultant, someone from the 9 to 5 going in wanting to get inside the AI industry, so you have an option to actually resell these things to your clients. Same thing, you either build it on your own or you license our sales system that is this, right? It has been already built, and I'll show you how it's built on the back end. And then you start reselling it to brand new prospects that you're gonna get through your own marketing, or you are going to sell it to your existing clients. So now the value is that if you're the marketing agency, for example, you can upsell it, increase the value of your services, because you're not only handling the marketing, you're also going to handle the sales pipeline. So everything is under one roof. So now you're increasing the return on ad spend that they're already doing. Thus, you're going to increase your retainers. Now, if you're, for example, not the marketing agency, but the content agency, same thing. So if you're posting the content, you usually want the business to go viral or the person to go viral. So here you can build the AI setters for your existing clients or offer it as a separate service to then capture this interest from the content that you're helping them to post, and then get more business and drive revenue, right? Or you can add it as a separate new kind of industry and the sub niche within your agency that you're targeting. So you can build a separate AI sub niche within, AI sub agency within your parent agency, or a separate agency that is going to be focusing on the AI implementation. So there are a lot of different options, and of course I'm available, so you can find somewhere the links how to contact me and my team, so we can help you to figure this out. But just know that if you're the business, you would just get it, and that's good. If you're someone who is looking to scale and to then resell these solutions to your businesses, or to your clients, or sell it to the brand new prospects, and building the AI agency around this sales system, focusing on not making the business more productive, but actually helping them to grow long term without them spending more money onto the ads. Yeah, so this is a pretty good option. Now let me show you the backend, so the technical infrastructure, how the actual system is done. I will then show it to you based on one real client that we have. Okay, I already opened all the information. Again, I will blur most of the information out, but I decided that it's better for you to see it live, right? The same way as I showed it on my prospect. By the way, I'm not sure, maybe I would actually mix it up with the client and also show the parts from, my own pipeline. But it's better for you to see it live on actual real use cases rather than some Miro boards where I'm gonna explain how the dots are connected, right? We have 3 pillars of this system. The first one is the interface, the second one is the engine, and the third one is the Omni agent experience, or what we call connections. Okay, so the interface is the CRM like dashboard. And we're using the high level for it. Now, I don't really want to spend like another 30 minutes here explaining why the high level and what it actually is, but let me give you a brief overview for those who are not aware, okay? High level is one of the most customizable CRMs in the world right now on the market. It's basically an interface. You can see it here, right? So it's basically like we have the dashboard here. You have all the conversations, you have the calendar, you have the contacts, you have all the opportunities, which is the pipeline. You have the marketing, so it's like everything in one place. Okay. Now, very important thing to note that, and it's guys, it's crucial for you to understand. Again, either you're the business. Or if you're planning to build it for your clients and resell the sales reps, we're not selling CRM. Okay, we're just using high level as a powerhouse. And you can say, hey Eugene, but there's like HubSpot, there's a Pipedrive, there's like NetSuite, there is a Salesforce. Could we use that? The answer, it depends, okay? Short answer is no. Long answer is, of course, because it will be connected. So, see, when the business has the CRM or the management software, you're not like replacing it, because it would be a hell, like, to transition the business from one CRM to another. And again, like, depending on the business, if it's the smaller one, that's fine, but usually it's not the case. That is why, for example, on our sales calls, and if you would resell this system yourself, you would never, ever even mention anything regarding the CRM. It's just like, yeah, we have the interface where you're gonna, manage the pipeline, we're gonna manage everything. And sure, the business might already have the pipeline. So they may already have the pipeline that they're managing through the HubSpot. And you're just going to sync it together. So the entire communication with the AI is gonna be done through the high level empowered by these engines, but the actual interface will be there. So the reason, again, why we're using high level, because it's very, very customizable. You can white label it, so it doesn't, like, if you get the high level license yourself, it's gonna cost you, either $97 or $297 or $497 per month, and you can then white label it on your specific brand, and then say that it's an actual AI sales reps that you deployed, and you just didn't just copied something. But if you're, for example, getting our license, you have this included, so you don't need to pay for it separately, or you can. It's not the requirement. So there are like a lot of different options. What I'm saying is that you can really customize it to your brand, white label it the way you want, and present it to the business in a way where they're gonna feel that it's something special and something comes from your own agency or company. But if you're the business, of course, you don't care about that. You just want the results to be in. And again, there is options to do that if you're getting our license, or you're doing it on yourself. Now, so this is like a powerhouse, right? Then we have engines, because let me mention this. High level does have the AI agents, right? So they are internal AI agents, and eventually all of the main CRMs and management softwares are gonna add it. It's just a matter of time, right? Like the voice and conversation AI. And I receive, because I post a lot of content, okay, so I talk to a lot of businesses and to a lot of like people. I get it asked a lot of like, hey Eugene, are we gonna get replaced? So is this gonna be stop being relevant? Do we need such an advanced system like you built that you're offering? If a business can just come in here and make a few prompts and it's gonna work? The answer is yes, but not always. So you need to understand your use case. If you're building something for a complex business, right, with a complex products, for a bigger business where they need the private infrastructure, or with a business that really needs this human touch, where you do not want to let people know that they're talking to the AI. It could be the coaching, it could be the health, it could be the education, where you're not 100% like showing that it's not a human. This is not possible with these internal tools, and it's probably not going to be possible at least for the next like few years, or like I would just say 2, 3, 5 years. We'll see how everything goes. Of course, everything changes very fast in the industry. Not because it's super complex, but because there's a very specific pipeline that goes into creating this experience that is, mimicking human behavior, okay? Now, that is why on the backend, we're using the n8n as the engine, as the text-based engine that is powering the conversation through text, and the voice that is powering the actual outbound calls or the inbound calls. Right? And then we have the omni-channel experience, where these are like the different channels. And again, this is just a part, like the messenger and the forms and the lead forms. It's just, a screenshot in the call that are getting connected to this engine. And they're going to connect it through the high level. So basically, within the high level, let's get like iMessage as an example, right? You're gonna, inside the high level, you're attaching the phone number, right? So through the settings, again, there is like a lot of different options, providers. You can buy it internally, you can get the Twilio, you can, like, there are options, okay? Same thing with the Instagram connection, with the WhatsApp connection. So you're making this connection through the actual high level, okay? You're connecting it there. Now, how we are gonna connect it to our, n8n engine, right? So this is like, for example, the digital bot. This is like an engine, right? So how you're gonna connect it here, and the way we're doing that is by utilizing the high-level automations, okay? So the high level is like shines in the possibility of making really, really deep automation experiences that you can build, not getting off the platform to like make or even the n8n now. So you can say, hey, Eugene, but why then you're using the n8n? And the reason for that, because of course it's reached experience. The experiences are rich, but not as rich as we would want. That's why we're still using something separately. So that's pretty much kind of the overview. You need to understand there is an interface, there is an engine, and then there's like a channel, right, that we're trying to automate the communication on, either text and voice, and then we're connecting all this through the internal high-level automations, okay? Let me give you the overview. So if we go to this specific client, you can see that these are the conversations. Again, so everything will be blurred. You can see that there are conversations happening through multiple channels, right? So this is like our agent talking through like Messenger, right? Then there's like an Instagram and there's a WhatsApp. So there's like 3 channels connected, and we have also the voice. So everything is under one interface. That is where the actual advantage comes in. So if you're building it for the client, you have it, like you give this specific interface to them, and it's all good. They do not need to go into the automations. They don't need to do anything. So they have a dashboard, they have the conversations, they have all the contacts, and they have the calendar in one place. This specific business is, by the way, using because it's a Spanish market. You can see that, by the way, like, sorry for the interfaces in Spanish. A quick disclaimer, why it's in Spanish. Like, I decided to show it to you because this is an actual client that we, closed basically like 2 weeks ago, and the agent is still running. It's very, very fresh. That's why I decided to show it to you. We're operating on different markets, so you can see that the language is not a problem. Anyways, but I don't speak Spanish. So it's everything in one place, and they have like their Spanish local like CRM. They're in Mexico, so this like a local CRM for this aesthetic clinic. And it is fully synced, right? So when the prospect comes in, the actual, contact is populated there and it's assigned to the opportunity. Of course, the conversations are managed here, but they can also like see what's going on their side. So they have kind of the two interfaces where here they're managing the AI, even though they don't need to manage the AI. They're just, overviewing, or if there's a need of the human handoff, this is where it happens. Now, if we go to the automations, there is an automation folder, which is the AI sales reps. Now, a very important point for me to mention again, it really depends on how you're, going from like after watching this video and what you're going to do. If you are, building it yourself, pay close attention on what exactly comes into play and how you would need to build all these things yourself. But if you're getting our license for this one prompt system and sales reps, everything is already built, right? So you have the account, you have all the automations already uploaded, and you just need to customize a few things. So now we have both like inbound and the outbound automations, right? Inbound means that we're just receiving the message in. We're not doing the engagement. So we're not proactively trying to engage with the prospect. This is what I was showing you on my specific funnel. Okay, so here let's review, because this is the most simple way for you to understand how the things are functioning, just the inbound request processing, right? So let's say we're processing the request through one of the channels, right? So let's open two of these automations so that I can show you how everything is done, okay? So here we are having the trigger, right? So the trigger, it could be the WhatsApp, it could be the Instagram DM trigger, or it could be the Facebook Messenger, right? So then we're like kind of identifying what channel is, and then we are creating a custom field called like Instagram. The custom field is called channel, and we're assigning the channel based on the trigger, so that then we can reply to the user within the same channel. Then what happens is very, very important. This is a unique way of processing multiple messages in. So when the prospect sends one message, this message is getting saved in the custom field called DM1, right? So for example, go into, let me get back. If we go to a conversation, if we go to, for example, this contact, if we open this contact separately, you will see that this contact on the left, where all the custom fields are at, you will see that this prospect has a custom field. So DM like 1, 2. So these are the custom fields, okay? So when we receive a new message, this message is getting saved into the one of the custom fields. Then let's see when the prospect sends another message, right? As remember, like multi-message processing within like a few seconds. This verifies that, okay, DM1 is not empty. So there is a message in the DM1. So it goes into this like another if statement, and then it saves this in the DM2. So it saves the second message in the DM2. So now it is actually doing this kind of multi-message saving, like message 1 here, right? So message 2, and then it could be the message 3, right? So we are kind of assigning different messages into the custom fields. Then once it is done, we're moving into the second part of the automation. And this looks a bit scary, but don't worry. The idea here is that we are, waiting for X amount of time in this like 0.2 minutes or like 1 or 2 or 5 minutes. And then we are grouping these messages together from the custom fields. We are grouping them together and then sending an API call to our engine. So all these messages has been grouped together. And this is like a master message. So now we need to generate a reply to this master message. And the way we're doing that is by utilizing our N8N engine, right? So here we have a webhook. This is where we receive this message. Then we are setting the different fields. And again, the reason for that is because we're using the contact ID from the high level. So this is the contact ID as a unique identifier for each and every message on the backend. So that's why we're saving it here. We're then saving the last user utterance, right, which is the master message or the payload from the webhook. Then we're just saving the user details if we pass it from the webhook. From here, you can see that we're, passing the user, full name, email, and phone number. So we're like saving all these fields. Then what happens here is we are extracting the user information. So for example, if the user is, messaging on the Instagram, we don't have his email. When the user is going to provide you his email, right, randomly in the chat, or it could be anything. So you can actually program it here and say, okay, you would want to extract the account number or the size of their property or the value that they want to invest. When they mention it anywhere, it's smart. It doesn't need to be like a form and, hey, provide how much you're looking to invest. X, and you're saving it somewhere. No, it's very dynamic conversational. When they mention it somewhere, it's actually analyzing the entire conversation. And then once this is mentioned, so for example, here we're saying, okay, is the name or the email mentioned, right? This is as an example because we're not capturing any information from the specific customer. But if you'd say, okay, if this information is mentioned, you're just making another API call, right? Another API call to this automation, right? So we'll say the number 3, so AI sales reps inbound, you'll see that there is update user details, right? It's basically the automation that is like receiving the email or the name, because this is what we are capturing here, right? Or any data point that you would want, and then saving it inside the CRM. By the way, you can also, for example, here add an action and then send also this information into the actual business management software, okay? Then transfer to the human. This is the human handoff. Very important. Because when someone recognizes that it's an AI, it's less than 1%, but still it happens, or when it's an angry customer, for example, that is mad, that wants the refund, the return, or anything, or a complaint, we are transferring this specific customer. So we analyze the conversation. So we say, okay, user input. We're saying, okay, when the user explicitly want to talk to the human, or because we're not using the angry customer reference here because it usually doesn't happen, but in other clients, you're saying, okay, so you're just calling another webhook. And this is like another webhook, as you can see, like transfer to the human. And here we're just, receiving this message in from the customer. So we're, having the trigger here, then we find the contact, and we're doing these things. Okay. So basically, and then this is where the magic is at. This is where this is the actual booking agent, because in this specific use case, we're trying to book an appointment with a person. So here, this is the booking agent where we have the last user utterance, we have the language matching rules, because the language matching rules comes from the actual set field here, for example, and the reason for that is because like our prompts is in English, and this is the Spanish market. So sometimes they have the people on Spanish, sometimes they have the people from the English, because they have multiple facility, like, clinics in the US as well as in the Mexico. So it's actually matching the language that the user speaks, and then it's just the booking, right? So here, this is where, the actual like magic is happening. This is where you're, providing the information about the clinic. You're providing like all these things, right? Now, of course, it is also operated on the knowledge base. So in this specific use case, we're not using the knowledge base, right? So all the information about the clinic, because there's not that much information, so we're just having the services, we are having a few doctors, and then we have the actual clinic hours, right? So we're not using the knowledge base. But if we go into, for example, let me reload that. If we go to one of our clients, one of other clients, let's see what we have here. So if we go, for example, into here, tax engine, it's going to look the same. And this is the thing. So we are using a very similar engines for all of our customers. That is why once you're like getting our license, it's pretty standardized, and you just kind of adapt it to your use case. Or if you're the business, again, it's pretty easy for you to start like implementing that, because the engine is the same. Doesn't matter what industry you're at, doesn't matter who you're serving, it's the same. Of course, it's customizable. You can see that you can add, all of this, like different things as I mentioned, like putting it to the CRM or extracting more information or changing the prompt here. But here, for example, because this is the business with more information on the backend, so it's a smaller prompt, but we are actually creating the knowledge base. We're using the Supabase for the knowledge base, where when someone is asking a question about our business, we're extracting this value from this knowledge base, okay? And we can actually, again, so let's go with that specific use case, because yeah, it's a different engine for a different business, but it's pretty similar, so I'm just trying to give you the structure. Everything is powered by one LLM. You can choose anything here. So this is, GPT 4.1. We are usually using right now the open router. So this is like, for example, my engine that is running right now that I was showing you on the text. So here you can see the LLM model is the actual open router chat, where you can use any model. So you don't need to kind of choose separately the separate API keys. You can just create an account there, and it's very, very easy to use it for the testing. Okay, now, and the last thing is the memory, because we're storing the memory separately, and this memory can be accessed by both text and voice engines. So it means that it doesn't matter what the channel is, right? The conversation is stored separately. That is why if someone messaged you on the Instagram, right? That is why, so see here, you are having, like, if someone is actually messaging you on both like Instagram or Messenger or the WhatsApp, or making the call, the agent has one unified memory between all of the conversations. So it's smart enough to pick up the remaining parts from the previous convo and continue nurturing, educating, or qualifying or booking an appointment with a specific customer. And then there is an actual post-process replay. So here we are chunking the response from one chunk, like from one sentence, into multiple sentences. This is where you saw that it is sending multiple messages out. Now, so this is the engine, right? And you can say, hey Eugene, but okay, so we passed this message to this engine. It was processing, but how do we send it back? Okay, so we chunked the messages back, but like here you can see that we respond to the webhook. That is why here you are actually, as a response, you're receiving like the split JSON, for example, with message 1, message 2. As you can see, it's split. It was split here. And the chat history, which is the conversation history, that is also stored not only within this engine, within this, Postgres Supabase, but also stored inside the contact fields, right? So that when someone calls, it picks it up. And then it's just the technical aspect, right? So we're like having it, we're parsing the actual messages into separate fields. Then we're saving this, like for example, if the replay, it was like a big replay that generated here. We're chunking this replay into 3 different messages. These 3 different messages are getting saved here, and then we're like checking if the memory exists, and we're saying, okay, so what is the actual channel that the user messaged us in? So what's the channel includes WhatsApp, because remember here we're actually setting this up. So we're setting, okay, if the channel is the WhatsApp, you're assigning it to WhatsApp, so this is what we're doing, and again WhatsApp, and then we're sending, okay, so message 1, if there's like a first message always exists. So you're like, okay, so the custom field that you provided from actually here, and then if the second message exists, you send it. If the third message exists, it send it. If the fourth message, for example, doesn't exist, it skips it and then just goes into the follow-ups. Now the follow-ups is kind of the last stage, because you can see that we and this agent can follow up with customers, because this is very important. Like, when someone doesn't respond to your question right, you can follow up dynamically with this prospect, because like when you're qualifying someone, you can say, hey, how much money are you making? It just skips the response, because people are busy. They can maybe sometimes not actually check the conversation, or like, hey, so are you looking to book an appointment now? And they're like just ghosting you. So now you would, like, if an actual human would handle the conversation, it would message these people back, hey, have you checked my message? So let's book an appointment. It can do the same thing. And it's smart enough to understand, okay, if it's the last message, so a user said, hey, thank you for your help. You say, you're welcome. You don't need to follow up after you said you're welcome. So it's smart enough to understand that. But if it's the question, it's going to follow up and say, hey, have you sent my question? So this is what we're doing here. Basically, we're triggering the webhook. Usually we wait, like here, we're waiting for 12 hours. And then here, you can see, we have a separate, follow-up sequence where we have a webhook, and then we're, using the follow-up, and then we are, okay, so the chat history, and then it identified, okay, do we need to do the follow-up? So do we need to do follow-up? And then if we need, you actually output and respond to the webhook with a unique follow-up. And then we're providing this follow-up to the user, okay? Now, this is kind of everything regarding the text engine. Of course, there's like so much kind of nuances that you would need to cover. You can actually, watch more of my videos where I talk about like this specific thing if you're like looking to build it yourself, or if you just don't want to spend like months trying to figure this out yourself based on like my videos, you can just license our system. We can, help you to actually adapt it to your specific use case and then either resell or use within your business. Let me know. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention is the voice, because the voice is actually done on the retail. And let me give you an example on our specific use case, right? So we have the one prompt opt-in agent, which is, again, it comes with a license, but if you're doing it yourself, pay it close attention, so you're going to figure this out. Now, if we go to, for example, our automation, if I go to my specific funnel, right? So this is the receive opt-in. This is what you're seeing in the actual contact examples that I was showing earlier. So someone fills out the form, we're engaging with the prospect, so we're sending the message, we're sending the SMS, we're sending the WhatsApp, the email, and we're also making the phone call. So here, let's say there is a form submit, right? So this is the opt-in. Then we're like sending the conversion events. It doesn't matter, like creating the contact. Okay, want AI. So now you can see that we are making a notification call, and then we're making an actual API call to the N8N. Now we're doing it through the N8N. We could technically directly call the retail engine through the APIs. But the reason why we're doing that is if you go into the booking confirmation call retail, I think it's the opt-in engagement. Yeah, so this one, as you can see, like we're calling this webhook, and then we're doing the switch because we're checking if it's the US number or the UK number. We're actually not, I think, running the ads for the Australia. That's why there is no Australian number. So we it's the same agent. So we're using this one agent, but we're just calling from the different numbers to match the the user country, and then we're just making the API call here to make the call to the phone number that the user provided on the opt-in with this agent. And as you can see, like this is where it happens. Like you're Catherine, so the goal, and you're prompting all these things. We're using 4.1. It's the fast tier. It's a bit more expensive, but again, for us, it's not a problem. Using the Heather voice, we're testing them out, but as I said, we're not trying to make it like very, very perfect, because it's really actually good when people realize that it's AI and it's like doing the job, it's asking the questions, it's qualifying them, and books the appointment. In terms of the functions, we have the functions. These are the functions that are booking the call. So for the booking the call, we have actually the retail booking functions through the N8N. So whenever someone is actually, saying that, okay, let me book an appointment, we're getting the available slots and we are booking an appointment. So here we're basically triggering this webhook, we're setting all the credentials, and then we're actually like routing depending on the contact. Again, don't want to waste too much of your time here. So for example, get available slots, which we're calling another workflow. But before that, we need to, of course, understand the time zone, so we're like providing all these different prompts together to understand the time zone and to provide the right output within the JSON format. So yeah, this one, voice is a bit tricky, but with the booking, if you don't need the booking, it's pretty easy. If you need the booking, now of course, for example, the retail has their own booking functions, but it's better to do them custom, because especially first with the time zone, and second because it's directly connected within the high level. So not only that, it can get, so whenever someone here, for us it doesn't matter. So when we are making the call, we're making it through the API request, and we are saying, hey, Eugene, because Eugene actually did provide the form submit, right? So within this form submit here, So Eugene provides the name, the phone number, and the email. We say, hey, Eugene, you just filled out the form, right? But when it's, for example, the inbound, inbound phone call, this is smart enough to actually first, before they call, research the prospect, find if the prospect exists in the high level, get the conversation history from all of the different channels, get it, and then say, hey, Eugene, welcome back. Are you still looking to, get your roof done? Or are you still looking to implement AI sales reps into your business, right? So that is where the omni agent experience comes in and the unified memory between text and voice. Guys, this is pretty much it that I wanted to cover. Of course, I can talk about this thing, on hours and hours. Within the One Prompt, we do have a 15-hour course that will help you to develop this thing, or we can do it for you, like it done for you, and you not doing like any work. If you want to kind of try to do it yourself, that's fine. Watch more of my videos, try to learn, ask questions, don't be afraid, and we're always there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.